call the meeting to order.
Sean Lucas,
Here.
Justin Orff,
Here.
Jared Giddens,
Here.
Aaron Peterson,
Here.
Darlene Graham,
Here.
Amy Hoekstra.
Here.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. And we'll move on to the consent agenda. Would anyone like to remove any items from tonight's consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion to approve.
So made. Second.
Roll call, please.
Justin Orff,
Yes.
Jared Giddens,
Yes.
Aaron Peterson,
Yes.
Darlene Graham,
Yes.
Amy Hoekstra.
Yes.
Sean Lucas.
Yes. All right, we'll move on to our service awards. We have a bunch tonight. Why we hire everybody in May for, Jimmy? We'll start out with Damian Smith, Street Department for 10 years. Jeff.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. Damian Smith is one of our employees that is instrumental in a lot of our sign work, a lot of our right-of-way spraying, things like that. He is also one that, many of you may not know this, he teaches a lot of our CDL drivers their tests and all of the paperwork that goes with that. Damian is very patient with a lot of people. He does a lot of the skills things with them, and very, very helpful.
All right, congratulations. I don't think Damian's not here tonight, right?
No, Damian's not
Okay.
here.
Congratulations. And you can just stay. We'll go on to Corey Becker, 10 years with the street department.
Yeah, Corey started with us with the building and grounds crew. Corey is one of our go-to people. He is instrumental in everything that we do. Corey is now moved up to a lead position with the street department. Corey is one that doesn't see anything that's too difficult for him. He's constantly trying to learn. He's very eager to learn, and that is why he has moved up as he has. Corey is helpful in teaching the other employees a lot of things, and we honestly don't have anything that Corey can't do, so he's very important to our department.
Well, congratulations to Corey. And one more for you, Jeff. Trevor Hale.
Yeah, Trevor came to us as a utility worker. He's one that helps us a lot with our building and things like that, our office expansions and whatnot. Trevor is very versed in framing and sheetrock work and plumbing, things like that. So a lot of the work that we do inside City Hall and the other facilities we couldn't do without Trevor. So very important part.
Well, congratulations to him on 5 years. All right, we'll move on to Tom Frazier from the electric department, 5 years. Brian. I'm just going through these just to make you guys come up here and talk.
I know.
It's just for fun.
Luckily, only have one. Tom came to us from the city of Lebanon as a journey lineman, and in the few years he's been with us, he's just been great. I mean, he's one of the guys we count on. We moved him up 2 years ago to a lead position because of his leadership, and like Jeff said about his guys, we count on him. There's no job too big. He's willing to learn. He teaches our apprentice and our younger linemen, and we're just blessed to have him. He's a good guy.
Well, congratulations to Tom. I think Jason is here, right? Is Jason?
Yes, he is.
Oh, okay, nice. My eyes are not working today. All right, we'll move on. Jason Cook, 10 years in building inspection.
That's going to be me.
That's
Jason
gonna be
has,
you. Okay.
yeah, that's me
there
tonight.
you go. Hey,
Jason was hired 10 years ago. He actually started out in the street department. In 2013, he transferred over to the building and inspection department, where he has worked very hard to become a certified residential building inspector. Jason's a hard worker. I think he's a huge asset to our city. And I know of two things about him: that he likes to spend his free time at the lake, and we usually eat lunchtime at the same time because we always fight over the microwave. He does a great job for the city.
All right, well, congratulations, Jason. We'll catch all the pictures at the end. All right, move on to Jason Bennett, 15 years with the police department.
Yes, Sergeant Bennett, 15 years. He came to us from the academy. During his tenure here, he has served as a patrol officer, a field training officer, a bicycle officer. He was on the SWAT team, and he currently serves in the support division as the Support Bureau Supervising Sergeant. He is known for his analytical and critical thinking skills. And I say that because he takes a very common sense, practical approach to how he does business, which often, as you know, pays a lot of dividends when it comes to police work. We're really lucky to have him. 15 years is a long time to be in a position, and so we're looking forward to many more years with Sergeant Bennett.
Congratulations, Sergeant Bennett. All right, Christina Gullett, 10 years with the police department.
Yeah, 10 years. 10 years is no feat. Corporal Gullett has been with us since the academy. She came to us. Since then, she's worked as a patrol officer. She's been a field training officer, and most recently, she was a detective over in support. While she was over there, she got a lot of attention for the detail and quality of the cases that she had produced while in investigations. Currently, she's back out on operations as a field supervisor, but Christina always challenges herself to put her best foot forward, and you can always tell you've gotten a case from Corporal Gullett by reading it, just based on the detail and the accuracy of her reports. And so we're happy to have her, and we look forward to many more years with her.
Congratulations, Corporal Gullett. All right, we're on the home stretch. Lori Wilkerson, 5 years in the finance department.
Yes, when I was writing down some descriptors for Lori, I came up with just a few, but these are the ones that came to my mind first and foremost. She's consistent, she's intelligent, she's tenacious, she's conscientious, she's organized, and she's a very hard worker. Lori was recently promoted from accounts payable clerk to lead accounting clerk. Barbara Blevins, my assistant, is retiring at the end of June, and so Lori will be sort of sliding into that lead accounting clerk position. And so at the moment, she's wearing all kinds of hats in the finance department because she's training her replacement, she's learning her new job, and she's spinning a lot of plates, and she does it very, very, very well. And so any task I ever give her, she takes it and runs with it and does an excellent job, and I'm so happy that she's on our team.
All right, congratulations, Lori. And one more, Beth Reed Francis, 5 years in utility billing.
Yep, I have hers too. Brian was not able to be here, and neither was Beth, so I had Brian write up a little blurb for her, and he says, Beth continues to be an integral part of the utility billing staff. Her dedication to her job has recently rewarded her with the promotion to lead billing clerk. In this role, Beth has blossomed and proven herself by her continued attention to detail, along with supporting her teammates in the office. Beth makes it a habit to take on more responsibility without being asked, and in her role, that is not always an easy task. Her positive outlook on difficult situations continues to be a leading example in the billing department. Beth takes pride in her work, and it shows with the relationships she has built within the city. I look forward to what the future holds for Beth, and I'm excited for her potential, and I'm proud to have her as a member of my team. That's from Brian Hawk, her supervisor.
All right, congratulations, Beth. behalf of all the council, thanks to all of you for all of your service. All right, we'll move on to our proclamation. Whereas our nation was founded on the principle of equal rights for all people, but the fulfillment of this promise has been long in coming for many Americans, and whereas LGBTQ plus citizens in our local communities face discrimination simply for being who they are and for whom they love, and whereas while society at large is slowly recognizing new definitions of sexuality and gender, we must also acknowledge that the need for education and awareness remains vital to end discrimination and prejudice, and whereas the city of Nixa is strengthened by and thrives upon the rich diversity of its residents, all of whom contribute to its vibrant character of our city. Through our LEAD program, we strive to embrace diversity and foster inclusion of all citizens. And whereas the city of Nixa recognizes the importance and contribution of members of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer plus community, and is committed to supporting visibility, dignity, and equality for all people in our community. And whereas celebrating Pride Month influences awareness and provides support and advocacy for Nixa's LGBTQ plus community, and is an opportunity to engage in dialogue to strengthen alliances, build acceptance, and advance equal rights for all. Now, therefore, I, Brian Steele, Mayor for the City of Nixa, do hereby proclaim June 2022 as LGBTQ plus Pride Month in the City of Nixa. And I think we had a few community advocates that were here tonight to accept the proclamation. And thank all of you for coming out tonight. I think that's the biggest round of applause we've ever gotten for a proclamation. All right, we'll move on to our visitor section. Do we have any visitors back?
We do. James Perry.
Mr. Perry.
Hi, how are you? Good. I'll keep this short and sweet. Mr. Mayor, esteemed members of the council, I've come to speak tonight on the proclamation that Mayor Steele just made this evening, making June the first ever Pride Month in the town's history. As you all can clearly see, I'm a 37-year-old white heterosexual male. So the proclamation, no matter how important or insignificant to me in my personal life, is massive to many people who live here. I know a great many people who will benefit from knowing that they now live in a marginally more accepting community, or at the very minimum, they can hold their heads a little higher and stand a little taller, knowing that members of this town, that I will reiterate has a motto of the progressive choice on their city limits billboards, can feel valued now too. The topic matters to me because I know families who choose not to move here and families who move away because of the prejudice and hate they would receive if they choose Nixa as their home or if they had kept calling it so. Some people will get up after I leave this podium and they may rant and rave, may tell you that this is wrong. They'll spout plenty of fallacies, I'm sure. They may even quote a book. However, like me, I bet you they were raised to believe things like liberty and justice for all. I also bet you that they hold dear sentiments such as life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, concepts that they would probably now abandon for religious rhetoric the moment that they don't understand something or fear something different. Though all the while, most of them probably failed 8th grade or high school social studies, they will berate you and try to get you to change your mind or take it back, or worse, to stop your pursuits of the basic human decency that is the right to equality. hang on, I just lost my place. Okay, there we go. And believe me, I hope I'm wrong. I hope nobody gets up here and shows their abhorrent ignorance. But we've all been to enough of these to know what's coming, right? I wanted to take a moment before the madness and thank you, Mr. Mayor, and the rest of the City Council for making this proclamation. Though it's a small step in the right direction and much more actions like this are needed, it shows the rest of the town that progression is not only doable, but necessary. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. Who you got next?
Aaron Shikora.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. And my name is Aaron Shikora. I am here today as a part of my role as the president of the board of directors for an organization called PFLAG Springfield. Our name is a bit of a misnomer. We often call ourselves PFLAG of the Ozarks because our organization serves all of Southwest Missouri, of course, including Christian County and the residents of the city of Nixa. Our organization wanted to be here to voice our support for the proclamation that Mayor Steele just read and introduced in this community, naming June Pride Month for the city of Nixa. That adds the city of Nixa to a very short list of communities in our state that have taken this step to recognize members of the LGBTQ plus community, and we wanted to acknowledge and thank the city for doing that. Our organization strives to make all communities across Southwest Missouri a better place for LGBTQ plus people, and we do that by working with families and working with specifically parents. So it's often said that that there's not a book that comes with being a parent, right? That's often something that's said. You don't get rules, you don't get instructions on how to do that. Thankfully, we actually do have a book on what it is and things and tips and resources for parenting an LGBTQ plus child. As the proclamation discussed, steps like these, while they don't have the weight of ordinances, they're not banning discrimination in the city, they're not ensuring equal rights for students in the schools and different things like that. There is weight behind the symbolic nature of recognizing that a community exists and recognizing that that community has a different experience than your average individual that lives in the city. And that's important for a lot of reasons, and a key reason behind why our community celebrates Pride. It's a celebration of the accomplishments, but also of the experiences that we have, both positive and negative, that we as a community, being queer, share across our country and across the world. And steps to recognize that discrimination, steps to recognize the people that are a part of this community do a lot to affect the negative outcomes, especially among LGBTQ plus youth. I'm sure many of you know that LGBTQ plus youth have a significantly higher rate of mental illness that results in attempts of suicide or, unfortunately, the death of many of our community members across the country and across our region. This continues to be a significant problem. But studies have shown countless times that support voiced by a community, support voiced to prevent discrimination, and support by those closest in those children's lives can go a long way to preventing those outcomes and strengthening the lives of our youth. And so we at PFLAG Springfield appreciate the step that has been taken and hope that it is the first of many steps across our region to create a better, more accepting, more affirming community for our LGBTQ plus citizens, and especially the next generation. If any of the city council or the mayor wants to learn more about the work that we do, the support groups, the educational support, the trainings and things that we provide to families, parents, and LGBTQ plus people, you can go to pflagoftheozarks.org, or you can find us on social media to learn more. Like I said, we do, while our name is PFLAG Springfield, we do serve this entire region, and we're here for all of the folks that are here in support of this legislation, as well as parents who have questions, who don't have the information that they need, that want to be a loving and supporting parent to their child, but just is not sure how to do that. That is okay. You can ask those questions of us. You can ask even the right question in the wrong way, and we will provide you with the information that you need. Thank you for the opportunity to address.
Thank you very much.
Sheila Michaels.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak. I am a parent in the community. I am an educator in the community, and I just wanted to affirm how important this proclamation is. My husband and I are raising a 14-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 17-year-old, and I've been a high school educator for 18 years. So high schoolers are my world. They're my thing. And anything that we can do to affirm them, anything that we can do to make them feel important and not just tolerated, but valued and seen and celebrated is so important for our young people. And I know as parents and educators, we're trying to teach our own kids and kids at school to be loving and accepting and compassionate. And we really appreciate a community that comes along with us, partners with us, and affirms that along with us, because it's one thing for your parent to say, oh, you should be loving and accept everyone. Well, that's just mom. Or a teacher to say, no, you should accept everyone. Well, all the teachers say that. But when a whole community can come together and affirm that message, it's good for everyone, and it's especially good for our young people. And I just wanted to say thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Tamara Yancey.
Hello. Is this good? Just
Yep.
okay. So I guess I don't really have a whole lot to say. I just kind of want to mirror and echo what everyone else has already said, that thank you, Mayor and Council, for doing this. I mean, it's about time. And this has been a long time coming, and I hope that this will lead to maybe even legislation or other acts that will help bring our whole community together so that these traditionally marginalized group of people we can really be a community. And that's all I want to say. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yancey.
Janice Vols.
Hi, I'm Janisha Vols, and I'm a parent and a biological foster adoptive parent here in the community, and I'm a teacher in the community as well. And thank you is what I want to say. Thank you for this step. I really appreciate the good works that you guys are working on with the LEAD initiative, and I have children in my own home and have had children in my own home who have definitely experienced discrimination because of their gender identity or the fact that they're part of the LGBTQ plus community. So, and it's happened at school and it's happened in the community. So this coming from you, our leaders, is much, much appreciated and very much needed. And I just want to say thank you.
Megan Block.
Good evening. My name's Megan Block. I am the co-president of the Board of Directors at the Glow Center in Springfield, servicing the entire Southwest Missouri and Ozark community. And I just wanted to say thank you and give you some words from Glow. Thank you to the Mayor's Office and the City Council, as well as the City of Nixa, for recognizing the LGBTQIA plus community and our worth as members of the City of Nixa, and for setting aside the month of June as a reminder that we are queer, we're here, and our pride is shared by the City of Nixa. That's really important. Our pride is shared by the City of Nixa. The Glow Center serves the LGBTQIA plus community in the Ozarks through resources, education, and advocacy to create a more inclusive and welcoming community we can all thrive in. Offering support groups, social events, life skills, furthering education, and access to regional health support are just a few of the offerings we focus our efforts on. Community collaborations such as the Gym House Garden and our weekly Friday night game night allows for a casual encounter to meet people and enjoy a sense of safety and belonging. Long-standing programs like our Glow Youth and newly formed Rainbow Kids Group are pillars in the growth and development of many LGBTQIA+ children, young adults, and parents in the area, creating a safe space to learn and create a healthy relationship between themselves and their authentic self. The Glow Center is a place to be yourself and a place to meet others in the community, a place to find information about your community at large, and in essence, it's your place. We've experienced some waxing and waning over the last couple of years, as we all have experienced in our personal and professional and community lives, and being able to see the community come together after that and support some of our members that have really fallen by the wayside in the last couple of months as far as support and resources go. The isolation of being at home in some of our senior communities and also in our youth communities. Something like this, starting off Pride Month with a wonderful example setting forward for this area, I think is going to really uplift a lot of our youth and senior communities that have been felt neglected over the last couple of years. For additional information, feel free to visit our website and consider becoming a sustaining member of the Glow Center to help us continue to spread this love and light throughout Missouri. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Janae Coburn.
Mr. Mayor and Council, my name is Jeannie Coburn. I wanted to share with you that as an ally, as a sister of someone who identified as gay until her death about 10 years ago, I want to thank you so much for this. I don't know that you will ever truly understand the importance of what you have done with this. It is not simply a proclamation. You are recognizing people who are marginalized. You are telling them that they are important and they matter. My sister was 2 years younger than me. She was full of life. She had a glint in her eye when she smiled. Her name was Julie. And she was a photographer and a nurse, and she did everything great and with great passion. And I miss her terribly. While her death and her suicide was not directly related to her being gay, I think it was a byproduct of it. She was unhappy as a child, and no one knew why. We didn't understand why, because she had a perfectly wonderful life. It wasn't until she came out as an adult that we understood why she was miserable as a child and as a teenager. God tells us that we need to love each other, and it doesn't matter where we are, who we are. And respect is important for all people, whatever gender, whatever identity they are, whatever color they are, whatever height they are, whatever size they are, everybody is important. People in the LGBTQIA community suffer immense discrimination that you would never imagine. It happens all the time. It happened with my sister all of the time. Diversity is kind of a boogeyman word these days in this community, as you all know, and I want to stand here and tell you that diversity is what makes the world beautiful, with all the different colors of the world, all the different varieties of people that we have, the different types of people. It makes it important. Inclusion allows people to be included. I think we forget what the root word of inclusion means, and it is being included, which means that you are part of. Thank you for acknowledging that Pride Month. Thank you for acknowledging this community of people. It's very important. We know that you are going to get tremendous kickback for this. We know that because we know many of the people in this community are very afraid and they don't understand and they want to judge. But we appreciate the fact that you are standing up for them. And I want to encourage you, please continue to stand up and say something. when you see someone being marginalized or discriminated against. It is important. It is important that we say something. If we refuse to see others, we send the message that they are not important and that they are not worth anything. So acknowledging and seeing them is very important. By acknowledging and saying something when you see someone being marginalized, you might actually be saving someone's life. And this proclamation may save someone's life, just knowing that they're seen and heard as someone important. Silence is deafening and deadly. But thank you so much for this proclamation. I appreciate you.
Elizabeth Buskirk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and the members of council. I'm not going to be nearly as able to express to you the types of things that others have expressed to you. I think there's a lot of reasons for that. My name is Elizabeth Dudash Buskirk, often known as Dr. Dudash Buskirk, but tonight I would like you to look at me as Beth Buskirk, citizen of Nixa, mother to several, stepmother to several, step-grandmother to several, and someone who cares deeply not just about this city, but the entirety of the Ozark region. I'm a member of, I'm a Yankee. I'm from Southwest Pennsylvania, which is very much like Southwest Missouri, believe it or not. We think pretty much the same way, and I thought for sure I had this down when I moved to Springfield in 2006. I am also a Catholic. I am a city girl by anyone's account. I'm afraid of birds. I have a hyphenated last name. I am a Kennedy Democrat. And when I moved to Springfield at first, I was told that they needed help navigating the community of Springfield and the Ozarks because political and social differences. I had no idea that I was, at that time, a political and social difference. The ridiculousness of having a hyphenated last name, being a Yankee, being a Catholic, being a college professor was in itself a challenge. The thought that I get to choose those things is the only thing that kept me going. When I realized how many people don't have the choice to be their authentic selves and to be able to work and live comfortably, securely, and happily in a city like Nixa or even Springfield. Just when I thought I was comfortable in Springfield, I had to give up my cat, my feather pillows, and my Angora sweaters for my college sweetheart who was allergic to everything, including chickens, which is why I have lizards. Because my husband also could not handle the big city of Springfield, we moved here to Nixa, what he found to be much more acceptable. I adopted his son. I took on the stepchildren, the step-grandchildren. I am or was the odd person out for so long that I was able to walk around with my head held high and say, hey, I chose this life and it's the best life for me. Within months, within weeks of being in Springfield and the same being here, I learned very quickly how easy I have it and how lucky I am to have a voice, to be able to yell out the credentials, to have people actually pay attention to me despite my liberalness, my hyphenated name, and the fact that I'm a Yankee. After last week's school board meeting, I had been begging my husband actually for about 3 years to please let me give up my tenure at MSU. Please, let's pick up and go somewhere else. We love our house. We love walking around here, even without sidewalks on my street. We love the people here. And he really doesn't like the north. He doesn't like the cold. He doesn't like the hot. So I'm not sure where else we would go. But I asked him, please let me walk away from this. I can't do this anymore. And after last week's school board meeting, I thought, I really, really can't do this anymore, because if we can't allow our students to learn about the things that are around them, how can we possibly teach them to express their humanity to others? So I just need to say thank you for giving me one small, marginal, as I believe it was James said earlier, glimmer of hope that we are stepping somewhere other than on the common decency that everybody deserves. Pride Month is a step, and we know that, but we thank you. We hope that we can help take it from here, but I couldn't say that. I couldn't stay here. I couldn't literally continue to live here without some sign that I should do just that. You've given me that sign. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Buskey. So, yeah, all right. We'll leave the visitor section open. If anyone else would like to speak, now would be the time to do so. All right, we will close the visitor section and move on to the rest of our agenda. Thank you all for speaking tonight. And we'll move on to the ordinance section.
First reading Council Bill number 2022-058, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa authorizing the mayor to execute a mutual aid agreement to continue the city's participation in the Combined Ozarks Multi-Jurisdictional Enforcement Team Task Force.
Did you get all that? That was a mouthful, wasn't it? Mayor, Council, as you know, we do participate in a task force called COMET. We've done this for a number of years. As a matter of fact, I can't think of a time when we didn't participate in this multi-jurisdictional task force. On a fairly regular basis, they ask us to update our MOU with them. And so that's what I have for you tonight in front of you is it's the updated MOU. Generally speaking, nothing's changed with this particular MOU. They need it primarily to make sure that they're in compliance with some of the requirements for their grants, and also, of course, you know, to make sure that we're still committed to our part. As you know, we do pay to participate in this task force, mainly because they are the primary agency that would clean up any potential hazardous materials if we were to encounter those on a crime scene. It is important to note that the COMET Task Force also does a wide variety of other investigations other than drug work. They help with most recently they've been helping with a lot of sex trafficking cases because those are getting a lot of attention. But we've had them work on gun cases. We've had them work on assault cases, murder cases, all kinds of cases. So they are a great resource, and we certainly want to continue our relationship with them. Any questions?
Any questions? Thank you, Chief. And we'll open up the public hearing if anyone would like to speak to this item. And we will close the public hearing. Any further discussion? Thank you very much. Move on to our second readings, please.
Second reading, Council Bill number 2022-051, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa amending the 2022 annual budget to appropriate funds for the scoping for a police department expansion.
I would have stayed up here if I realized I was up again.
Didn't realize what the order was.
Mayor, Council, as you know, last time we brought this to you as a first reading, we're back again. This scope of work project will let us explore some options with expansion and remodel of our police department. We did have an opportunity to participate in that about a year ago and got some results from Insight Design. We were back with them again to look at some variations on those particular documents that they have produced. And so by amending this budget to allow to make sure that we can pay them for their services, we have an estimation of $32,500. We do have some money allocated. I believe close to $15,000, so we'll need about a $20,000 amendment to get us where we need to be. Any questions about that?
Any questions? Thank you, Chief. You're welcome. And And we will open up the public hearing on this item if you'd like to speak to it. And close the public hearing. Any further discussion? Motion to approve?
So made. Second.
Roll call, please. No,
Who's taking that second?
Mr.
Aaron?
Peterson.
Jared Giddens?
Yes.
Aaron Peterson?
Yes.
Darlene Graham?
Yes.
Amy Hookstrat?
Yes.
Sean Lucas?
Yes.
Justin Orr?
Yes.
Second reading, Council Bill number 2022-052, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa authorizing the city administrator to execute contracts with Southwest Power Pool and Southwestern Power Administration for the provisions of electric transmission services in the city.
Good evening. These two agreements are actually agreement renewals and updates. One of them had a term expiring at the end of May. The other, though it had several more years on it, needed a few revisions. The SPP, or Southwest Power Pool contract, is our standard electric transmission contract that we use for the Southwest Power Pool's network to get power to town. The Southwest Power Administration Agreement it's a network operating agreement, and it's more of an agreement between SPP and SWPA with our sign-off, because we actually transmit power across the federal hydropower lines, which SWPA through SPP. We had to change several items, including removal of some items where there were grid updates in an old contract that we removed. We changed on the SWPA contract, we changed the name of the contract person. And of course, on both of them, we've changed those dates for expiration in 2030, June and 2030. There's no cost differences or anything like that. Those rates are all set and approved through FERC on a tariff, and so this has nothing to do with the rates themselves. Questions?
Any questions? All right. Thank you, Doug. And we will open up the public hearing on this item. And close the public hearing. Motion to approve.
So made.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Aaron Peterson?
Yes.
Darlene Graham?
Yes.
Amy Hookstrat?
Yes.
Sean Lucas?
Yes.
Justin Orr?
Yes.
Jared Giddens?
Yes.
We won't shame anybody that wants to leave. We understand how incredibly boring this is as we just go through and read these things. But we're always welcome to have the public to listen to our boringness.
Second reading, Council Bill number 2022-053, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa amending the 2022 annual budget to reflect several adjustments to the utility department funds.
Mayor and Council, as we discussed at your last meeting, this is a culmination of a number of budget adjustments all rolled into one action. What prompted this initially is, of course, the purchase of the RDE water system and the Tuscany Hills water and sewer systems. So these monies include the actual purchase price for those, $2.5 million for the RDE system, $500,000 for the Tuscany Hills water and sewer system. It also increases operations and maintenance line items in the water, wastewater departments to accommodate operations through the rest of the year for these. And it also includes some changes on the electric budget because of some items there where we've had some additional materials we had to buy we didn't anticipate when we did the budget. And of course, the many cost increases do a lot to shipping that you're fully aware of. So in total, this budget amendment has an electric department expenditure addition of $285,700, water department of $4,142,177, and on the wastewater side, $385,107.
Any questions? Thank you, Doug.
Thanks.
And we will open the public hearing on this item. And we'll close the public hearing. Any further discussion? Motion to approve.
So made.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Darlene Graham,
Yes.
Amy Hoekstra,
Yes.
Sean Lucas,
Yes.
Justin Orr,
Yes.
Jared Giddens,
Yes.
Aaron Peterson.
Yes.
Second reading, Council Bill number 2022-054, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa, rezoning real property generally located along the 900 block of East Mount Vernon Street from the R1 Residential District to General Commercial District.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I am your fill-in for the evening. As Becca said, this is the second reading for an ordinance to rezone property at the 900 block of East Mount Vernon and Shangri-La. The applicant of the property was the owner and turned in an application to rezone the property from R1 to general commercial. The land is a vacant piece of property with no buildings or structures located on the property. The proposed land use is consistent in the area. Mount Vernon Street is sufficient to provide the transportation needs for general commercial land use, and utilities are available for the property, with access to the water being the only point of concern. The rezone was presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission, where it received a motion for approval, but died for a lack of a second. Any questions on this? Okay, thank you.
All right, we will, any questions? Sorry. Thank you. And we'll open the public hearing if anyone would like to speak to this item. Mr. Sanders.
Hi, my name's Ron Sanders. Live at 976 Glen Oaks Drive. Was here at the last meeting whenever a whole bunch of people came up here that live there, voiced their opinion that this should not happen. I guess previously it was voted down. I just figured since nobody else is here to speak up for them, they spoke for themselves at the last meeting. Oh, is there someone here?
Yep, they're back.
Oh, I hope that you guys come up here too then. I looked around, I tried to do the 5-second thing. I listened to everything and I understand that, you know, the commission, you know, kind of says it's legal and everything. But the residents that are up there, you know, they've all spoken. And I do hope that you guys vote no for this. I really do. I think it would make the residents there very happy. I don't see any value in voting yes to believe it, you know, to tell you the truth.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. We will leave the public hearing open.
I'm Derek Bodendorfer, 255 Shangri-La. Thanks for listening to us. Again, we're here in opposition of the commercial zoning and would appreciate if you guys left it R1. And the only thing that I would want to reiterate is maybe in like a future meeting or who we would need to speak to somehow make this not have to happen every year. I don't know if that's a possibility or not.
Probably not.
Okay. So is there anyone we should speak to about that? Or, I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but if it continues to happen, I just want to sell my house because I don't want to have to continue going through this. We believe it should stay R1 and a home should be built there, or the only other possibility or option I thought of, and this may not work, but with the lift station being right there so close, would there be a possibility for the city of Nixa to need extra property to support that lift station in the future? And working with our neighborhood to maybe purchase that property, you know, together collectively. Just an idea that I had, and I don't know if it can work or if you guys will ever need a turnaround there for the trucks and trailers and the equipment you guys use to service the station. But the road that was built in the early 2000s is pretty small, and the private drive in front of my house that serves my home and another home is pretty inadequate for the trucks that service the lift station. So I don't know if we could open the door to talking about something to maybe remedy that situation also. Do you all have any questions for me?
Questions? Yeah, we can't stop. Whoever purchases it can definitely asked to rezone it, but hopefully after it's failed a couple times, people will get the message and not take the time, right?
Being that it's a private drive, that services Shangri-La as a private drive, as well as the driveway in front of my house that services me and one other home, I believe if we gated that off, it could potentially, fix our problem, but I think it could hurt the city of Nixa with needing to use our private roads to service the lift station.
There you go, darling.
I'm so sorry, I thought this was turned off.
Yeah, I'm not, you have to come back and check with Jimmy. I'm not sure exactly what the what the requirements would be of you being able to do that, or if that's something you could do or not. I don't know.
So who would I speak with about this?
If you'd like to come visit with me, I'd be happy to sit down with you and talk about that.
Thank you. You bet. Appreciate you guys listening.
Thank you. And we will leave it open.
I'm Joe Green at 168 Shangri-La. I didn't get to talk at the last one, so I'll get to say my little piece this time. Our main concern, number one, is traffic. That highway cannot handle traffic coming off of 14 right there. It's incredibly dangerous. I've got a 17-year-old daughter that I worry about all the time because we're going to get rear-ended eventually. It's a close call nearly weekly. And the other thing is, there's not another single piece of commercial property that touches that property. It just doesn't make sense for it to go to commercial. So I hope you guys will leave it as residential. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Hello, my name's Leslie Dye. I live at 201 Shangri-La, and I guess I've been there about longer than anybody else for over 25 years, and this has always been residential area. I don't know who bought the place that didn't show up for any of the meetings to tell us what he's wanting to do, which I guess that's his privilege. But there's lots of other commercial properties already ready for anyone to build something on in Nixa. Like Joe said, there's no other commercial next to this. If it was a 5 or 10 acre field, I could understand someone wanting to do something commercial there. But that lot is bigger than most city lots in Nixa already anyway. It's far enough away from the road where someone could build a house there and still be further away than a lot of the residents in Nixa are. So, excuse me. I'd like to keep it R1 like you voted for last time. It makes sense for the safety and, for the whole community in that area especially. It's already got covenants to where it has to be a single-family house anyway. Even though it's in the city, it's still in the James Moore subdivision. So I just, excuse me, I just hope that you continue to leave it residential R1, and that anybody that wants to build there can be able to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll leave open the public hearing. Close the public hearing. Any further discussion?
Okay, so I do agree with them as far as commercial traffic would be not very good in that location. So in doing that, I don't want to do what P&Z did, where not make a motion and not vote. So I do plan on making a motion in the affirmative. And I would appreciate a second, and then I plan to vote no after a motion is made. So we do actually have a vote from all of us, as opposed to just letting it die. So that's where I stand.
I'll second it.
I'll make the motion here in a minute.
I thought that was your motion.
Yeah.
That was the discussion. Yeah, I don't know if it should be commercial or residential. It's a terrible spot, but I always side on the side of what planning and zoning decided. They didn't decide to approve it, and so that would be my reasoning to recommend not to approve it. Anybody else? All right, now I will accept your motion.
So made.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Amy Hookstrat,
No.
Sean Lucas,
No.
Justin Orff,
No.
Jared Giddens,
No.
Aaron Peterson,
No.
Darlene Graham.
No.
All right. And we will move on to the next one.
Second reading, Council Bill number 2022-055, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa, rezoning the real property generally located along the 400 block of East Mount Vernon Street from the R1 Residential District and the Neighborhood Commercial District to the General Commercial District.
I just feel like Travis is coming up here and talking to me again.
I
Just
know,
feel- just-
right?
I get that Travis energy from you. Just-
I
just
know,
like-
right? This is also a second reading for a rezone for property located at the 400 block of East Mount Vernon and South Market Street. The owner of the property turned in an application that would rezone the property from R1 and neighborhood commercial to general commercial. The land is currently also vacant with no structures or buildings on the property. The proposed land use is consistent with the area because it fronts Mount Vernon or 14. Mount Vernon itself has sufficient capacity to serve the land use for general commercial, and utilities are immediately accessible on this property. This rezone was presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission, where it passed unanimously. Any questions on this one?
Any questions?
Yes.
Thank you, Cindy. And we'll open up a public hearing if anyone would like to speak to this item. I don't think Janie's here tonight. All right. And we will close the public hearing. Any further discussion? All right, I will accept a motion to approve.
So made. Second.
Or motion to vote. Shouldn't say motion to approve, it's not really a motion.
True.
Roll call, please.
Sean Lucas,
Yes.
Justin Orr,
Yes.
Jared Giddens,
Yes.
Aaron Peterson,
Yes.
Darlene Graham,
Yes.
Amy Hoekstra.
Yes.
Second reading, Council Bill number 2022-056, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa, amending Chapter 105 of the Nixa City Code to add provisions related to the protection and preservation of karst features.
Okay. This one's a little more complicated. This is a second reading to repeal Chapter 105, Article 3, and replace it with a new Article 3 titled Sinkholes and Karst Topography. As you all know, the City of Nixa has regulated development around sinkholes for many years. The regulations focus on preventing flooding hazards and promoting water quality. This ordinance amends the current sinkhole regulations to help develop the marginal sinkhole areas. The modifications address how much additional runoff can be added to a sinkhole that is shared by multiple property owners. This amendment raises the amount of runoff from 1.2 inches to a rise to 1 foot and changes the category of the storm event from a 6-hour event to a 24-hour storm event. This ordinance was presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission where it passed. And I hope you don't have any questions on this one.
We start talking about karst topography.
See,
Never
you
mind.
can't even say
I'm not even gonna
it.
try.
It's sinkholes. It's sinkholes. Just say sinkhole.
I was just gonna go. Any questions? Nope. Sounds like a good idea.
Thank
Thanks.
goodness. Thank you.
We didn't have any questions for the actual engineers. I guess we have any questions for Cindy. We'll open up a public hearing if anyone would like to speak to this item.
Oh, come on.
And we will close the public hearing. Any further discussion?
It's like story time with Cindy, and I kind of like
Yeah.
it.
We can just come back. Oh, I got a question. Oh, no. Accept a motion to approve?
So made.
Second.
Oh.
Oh, fast tonight.
Will be taken on the second.
You pick. Mr. Peterson again. I'm always turned this way, so it seems so. And roll call, please.
Justin Orr,
Yes.
Jared Giddens,
Yes.
Aaron Peterson,
Yes.
Darlene Graham,
Yes.
Amy Hoekstra.
Yes.
Sean Lucas.
Yes.
Second reading, Council Bill number 2022-057, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa, amending the 2022 annual budget to appropriate funds for design services for parks facilities.
Good evening. Don't shake your head yet. It's this way, not that way. This ordinance is the second reading for a budget amendment in the amount of $40,000 for the Parks Department to begin the work to plan for its future. As mentioned in our last meeting, the Parks Department's program participation has grown immensely and is beginning to exceed the abilities and the functionality of the community center. We are maxing the place out. Our programs have received or has seen a 57 or over 57% increase over the last 8 years, which has nearly doubled many of our programs. The gymnasium is maxed out at current, and depending on the time of the year, most of our room facilities are maxed out in the areas in which it would be most ideal for use. It's time to plan for that future in facilities, and this would give us the ability to go ahead and start beginning that and get that plan out, get some ideas of what the cost for those facilities would cost so that we can plan for that future. Any questions?
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
And we'll open up the public hearing if anyone would like to speak on this item. And we'll close the public hearing. Any further discussion? Motion to approve?
So made. Second.
Roll call, please.
Jared Giddens,
Yes.
Aaron Peterson,
Yes.
Darlene Graham,
Yes.
Amy Hookstrat.
Yes.
Sean Lucas,
Yes.
Justin Orr.
Yes. And move on to resolutions.
Resolution number 2022-055, a resolution of the Council of the City of Nixa authorizing the city administrator to apply for and accept a 2022 Bulletproof Vest Partnership Grant in the amount of $9,733, which includes a matching requirement.
Mayor, Council, on an annual basis, we apply for this grant through the Bureau of Justice Assistance. It is a 50% match grant, and you can see that we anticipate applying for $9,733, which we get approximately half of that back. We will use this money to buy new vests for officers coming in, and then we have a 5-year replacement cycle that we need to get those out. So anybody who is expiring in the next year or so, we would also use this money to replace their vest as well. Any questions?
Any questions? We like grants. Thank you, Chief. And we'll open up the public hearing. Close the public hearing. Any further discussion? And a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Resolution number 2022-056, a resolution of the Council of the City of Nixa authorizing the city administrator to execute a contract with Bell Fuel Sues and Associates Incorporated for the Enterprise Resource Planning System.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We've been in a long process of selecting a new enterprise resource planning system, ERP system, for the city. We started out back in August with our consultant, Baker Tilly, who came and did a needs assessment. They spoke with all the staff to figure out what each department needed in a system. They put together the RFP, they solicited the bids, they helped us score it, they set up the demonstrations. And so after all of that, we have chosen BS&A, is much easier to say than that weird name. Yeah. BS&A software. So the contract and the terms and the costs are included in your packet. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have, but we're very excited about this system. It's very robust, it's very user-friendly. The staff overwhelmingly chose it, and so we're happy to get started.
Any questions? Thank you, Jennifer. And we will open up the public hearing. And close the public hearing. Any further discussion? We get like cool new dashboards or something? We gotta have something cool for us. I like dashboards. Motion to approve?
So made. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And we'll move on to the next one.
Resolution number 2022-057, a resolution of the Council of the City of Nixa authorizing the city administrator to execute a contract with BBC Electrical Services, LLC, for construction services related to the electric system.
This agreement, if approved, would actually, the resolution, if approved, it would authorize the city administrator to sign an agreement. And basically what this is for contract labor work on the electric side. Typically, we use a contractor when we have certain functions such as a pole that requires more crews to be around than we have enough people for, those types of things. That's one of many examples. But so what we do is annually, or not annually, but every 3 years, we'll go out for a bid for roughly 250 different functions of whether it's setting a cross arm, whether it's pulling wire, those types of things. And then we'll get pricing for all of those, and then that way we can use that in any combination as we have something come out through the year. We don't have a large line item for this, but we do use it fairly regularly for certain items. It's not as much as it used to be because we've got fuller crews now than we used to have, but it's still very important for us. Sometimes, as happens, we don't get enough bids, or we would like to have more bids. Though we had a number of calls when we solicited for this, we only had one actual response. So we did a little extra due diligence to check out what the industry locally has been doing as far as bids and some different things to make sure that all their pricing was reasonable and not inflated because they were the only ones that bid. And as it turns out, they're right in there with the rest of them. BBC Electrical Services, we've just finishing the contract with them, a very similar one. They've been very successful working here in Nixa and working for us. They've done us a great job. So be happy to answer any questions you might have.
So, in the event of an emergency, if we were to call on these people, like how is that handled as far as where do we stand in line with them? Because they're based out of Joplin, correct?
They're based out of Joplin, but they're a fairly large company. They're usually around, and at one time they would even store some of their equipment in our yard behind the gate, just because they would have equipment nearby. They also work for the transmission line company. They do everything for Show Me Technologies. So, it's a good point because there are times where, like us, they may go off on mutual aid or something like that. They're very good about staying in contact with Chris and Brian as far as where they are. Typically, we don't use them in an emergency, though we could at some point. This contract does not have a response clause in it. In other words, you have to be here in 24 hours. It doesn't have that type of a clause because typically this is proactive type work.
And is this the only contractor that we have this type of contract with?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
For a general basis. We'll use, obviously, contractors for different things that are project-oriented, and we may even use BBC for a project where there's a successful bidder on that. But as far as just a general contract such as this is the only one we have.
Did we just have one similar on?
Where we had 3 different
It
ones?
was D&E and about.
Where we
about
only
boring.
had one bid?
Well, no, we had 2. And
Oh,
we said
no,
we were gonna
yeah.
pick them both.
Yeah.
Because it was the same thing, that it was a list of services.
Right, that's correct. It was very similar to that in that it's exactly the same, you're right. We had, like, if it's a 2-inch bore, it's this price per foot. If it's a 3-inch bore, it's this price per foot. Very similar. It's a list. It's kind of like a menu of items that you can select from, and there's a preset price for it.
Same kind of things, give consultants and other stuff too.
Similar.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, we'll open up the public hearing and close the public hearing. Any further discussion? Nope. All right, accept a motion to approve.
So made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Resolution number 2022-058, a resolution of the Council of the City of Nixa amending policy 1014 of the Police Department's Law Enforcement Manual to modify provisions related to compensation and overtime pay.
Policies, that's what we're good at, right? Mayor, Council, what you have tonight is a resolution that would modify our overtime pay compensation policy. As you recall, on May 9th, we added Juneteenth as a city-observed holiday, and we needed to incorporate that into our policy as well. What you have is a proposal to add one holiday, bringing our total to 12, and then bringing up our maximum annual bank from 132 to 144. Of course, we have different shift lengths for our officers, so depending on the shift that you're working, 8s, 10s, or 12s, that's how you would accrue those hours. Any particular questions?
Any questions?
The only question I had, and it's kind of on that, for you talking about banking the hours
Yes.
up to 144, is that for all police officers, or is that just based on your shift, where the 12-hour shifts would go up to 144 hours?
Well, what we decided to do to keep it a little less complex is that we gave everybody the same bank.
Just make sure I understood that.
Because conceivably, you could be working a 10-hour shift or an 8-hour shift, and then potentially be working a 12-hour shift within a matter of months, depending on what assignment you have. And so to really keep the confusion down, we just went with one bank amount across the board.
Sounds great.
Anything else?
Any other questions? Thanks, Chief. And we will open up the public hearing. Close the public hearing. Any further discussion? Seeing none, accept a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
She's back again.
Resolution number 2022-059, a resolution of the Council of the City of Nixa authorizing the city administrator to execute a contract with D&E Plumbing and Heating Incorporated for the construction of a police firing range.
Okay, so this is the one thing that I'm most excited about tonight. It's a long time coming, and I think many people in the room know that we've had several conversations about the police firing range over the years. We did get that out for bid. As you recall, we did. It is a approved capital improvement project for this year. We did work with Schaefer and Hines, and at their recommendation, we split this project out into two phases, so to speak, the actual construction of the firing range, and then we'll address the training building separately. So what you have tonight in front of you is a proposal to award this to D&E Plumbing, and this would be for the construction of the range itself, and then we're going to work on getting the second phase of that completed, which would be the building. We had one and only bidder on this. However, D&E Plumbing has done several projects for the city, and we've had a good working relationship with them, so we're confident they can do a good job for us and fulfill the contractual obligations. I think that is all. Do you have any questions?
Any questions?
I'm excited for this.
Is
It's
there
been a
any-
long time.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Is there any concern with this company also doing the 14 expansion as far as time frame and availability?
You can speak.
I don't think so. We actually, Mr. Peterson, actually, it'll be the third project they're working on because they're also doing a stormwater project for us. But D&E has a number of crews, and they have a lot of equipment. So I don't anticipate this being a problem for them. It's, for the most part, it's moving dirt and compacting. And that's something that they're very good and very fast at, so I don't see it being a problem. Mr. Oaf has been working real hard, trying to get projects local because he wants to stay closer to home. He lives here and he's, been out of town for years and years, and so that's part of the reason he's been going after some of these projects so aggressively.
Okay.
It is important to note that Schaefer and Hines Incorporated let us know that they've been seeing a lot of no bids on projects. So, and what that essentially means is that a municipality may put a project out for bid, and literally no one bids on it, and so you're back to the drawing board. So, it is good that we did get a bid. His bid was within budget, and I think it's a reasonable amount for and it was. The costs were checked by Schaefer and Hines as well, and they came up with the same figures.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief. It's probably one of the reasons they bid, because all their equipment's already here.
Right.
They don't have to move anything. And we'll open up the public hearing on this item. And we'll close the public hearing. Any further discussion? All right, motion to approve.
So made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Is that it? My computer died, so I'm gonna say that was it. Okay, good. All right. So move on to our old business. Drew.
Macy's got my PowerPoint. It's coming. By the way, Macy's taking over doing AV duties for the council meeting, and she's doing a great job, so. I think after this meeting, I'm going to start sitting up here with the other directors. All right. So just as a refresher, I ended up, at the kind of last second, I threw a couple other slides in here from a prior presentation I gave early on in the process, just because I think it might be good to, a refresher. This is just a kind of at a glance at our current brand family. The City of Nixa logo is in the upper left there. And a couple years ago, we did a design contest for the seal and flag. Those are the two designs that are adopted by council. Those are kind of the community's symbols, if you will. And we had done a design contest. I think that was just Norfolk's idea. And we did a design contest, and basically what we ended up picking as the winner at that time in 2017 or 2018 was these designs that kind of brought, they were an improvement over what we had in the past, and that by bringing kind of the logo that we currently have into those. We developed Nixa Utilities. Nixa Parks has had their logo, I think the longest of all those logos. We've had that one the longest. And the police patch was also updated, I should say, with that design contest. When we updated the seal, then we kind of adapted the seal to fit into the police patch design. So that's where we're currently at. What's our current brand strategy? Well, it's a little bit messy at the moment. You can see some different kind of business card designs that we have across the city that you might be able to find. Different designers do different things. We've got these kind of things going on. We've got some different looks on our different documents that are produced by different departments. They don't necessarily kind of look like they're coming from the same family. Even the signage on our buildings is not consistent. I mean, you've got the utilities building has blue. The fonts are different from the Nixa Police Department is a sans font, whereas the City Hall has a kind of more old-fashioned font with a serif on it. Our police cars versus our utility trucks, you can find all these different kind of old brands on our trucks currently. Water towers, you can really read that Nixa Utilities logo really clearly because it's nice, big, and bold font on it. But our current logo in the upper left of the slide is also on that water tower that's right out that way. But it's a little bit hard to read from a distance. That's part of the reason why we kind of proposed embarking on this process, is because our current logo, is the font that we're using and the X that we're using are really kind of skinny and a little bit hard to read at a distance. It doesn't really pop and stand out like you'd want it to on a water tower. Do we even need a brand refresh? I would argue that the logic is, yeah, when we look at the fonts and the shapes, we can really update and bring something to us that would make us look more contemporary, send a message about what type of community we are, and also kind of bring some more unity across that brand family that you saw at the beginning, where we have the 3 different X's, 3 different fonts, and all that stuff. Trying to kind of tighten things up and make it feel a little bit more like a family. So what would a brand refresh look like is the question that I proposed I asked about a year ago when we started on this process. And a brand refresh depends on the goals that you set. We want it to be unique. We want our brand to be authentic to us. We don't want to be pretending that we're somebody that we're not. We want to be honest about who we are as a community. And we want it to feel natural to our community. And when you look at it, you go, yeah, that's us. That makes sense that that's what we look like, right? And we don't want a cliche. We don't want to be silly or kind of goofy looking. and you don't want to be something that everybody does. You don't want to be the first idea you draw out of the hat that everybody else would do or copy. So what are the things that we looked at inspiration and when we started this process was Sioux Falls had gone through a rebranding, and they brought all their stuff. They actually kind of went another step further. We actually brought all of their community organizations under the same brand. We're not trying to propose that. I think that's kind of too messy to try to do, try to get a bunch of different organizations on the same page, but we thought it'd be at least worth trying to get all the same department, all of our city departments on the same page, you know? And so City of Sioux Falls has a community identity. Their core identity is this Sioux Falls, South Dakota. That's their core community or identity. But then the city has their own identity, which is just City of Sioux Falls. Same colors, same logo shape, same fonts, right? But you're slightly tweaking the presentation of it to indicate the different departments, right? So the overall brand of Sioux Falls, that's their Coke. City is Diet Coke. Their Chamber of Commerce, so think of these as their departments, right? They have their Coke Zero and their Coke no caffeine and their Coke whatever, but they all look like Coke, right? You look at the logo, you can see it's the same logo shape, same kind of colors, but there's a little bit of tweaking to the colors. Their Chamber of Commerce is all blue. Their Development Foundation has some green in it, right? So they're indicating some different things by introducing different colors for different departments. But generally, it feels like one cohesive family. City of Springfield, kind of similar. They break the rules a little bit. Their Springfield City Fire has a little bit unique logo, but their fonts are the same, right? City of Springfield Fire is the same as City of Springfield's Public Works, font-wise. They've got their S with the heart in the center, and that's applied to all their departments. They've got some county-wide departments that are a little bit unique, so their emergency communications has their own thing. The health department's kind of a cooperation between the county and the city, so they've got their own thing. Park Board has its own thing. Art Museum has its own thing. City Utilities is its own thing, right? But then the core city departments are all kind of different variations of the same idea. It feels a little bit even more cohesive as a family, right? City of Ozark, look at our neighbor over here. They've adopted kind of some more newer branding, and their stuff all kind of looks the same. They can variate it for the department. And they've used some color coding there. So again, this is where we currently are. And after some much discussion, I think this is the third time we've gotten together to talk. I'm proposing we've designed this as one possibility as a option A1. What separates A1 from A2 is the seal. You'll notice the seal from A1 to 2. Note how that's just a variation in how we might design the seal. So those are two possibilities. Option B, we've called this one Sunburst. Some people say it looks like a firework or cross-stitching. Some people say it reminds them of like a quilting like stitch. Option C, the Sunburst or something similar to this, where it's the same kind of idea as this, but the pieces are a little bit smaller, they're closer together. And instead of being parallel to each other, they point across, and they all point through the center to their opposite one. And then if you don't like the flags that go with these, we have some other flag designs that we've shown you guys. I don't recommend a white background flag because when the wind's not in it, it will look like we've surrendered. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. It's good to have some color in the background of your flag. Seals and logos on flags are not considered one of the kind of the best practices of vexillology design, but it is a thing that a lot of flags do. We've had our seal on our flag before in the past, and we have our current logo integrated into our flag now. So that's a possibility. You could take any of those seals if you were to adopt one of those and put that on the flag. You could do something like this. This also breaks the rules a little bit of good vexillology design, but again, cities do this. Springfield's old flag that they just changed was kind of like this, where it had their word mark on it, and I think they had four stars in the corners. Good vexillology would say the design needs to be symmetrical. It needs to have no seal or logo, no text on it. They want you to use big, clear shapes and colors. It needs to be easily redrawn from memory. So these ones on the right would fit that description. The one on the left doesn't really follow that, but it's a logo and a word mark with that design B kind of integrated into the word mark on the flag as a potential design as well. One that you've not seen that we worked up at the mayor's request was this, another kind of X that's kind of a variation. What we talked about was it's somewhere between the current Parks X and the current X that we're using. Kind of a hybrid of those X's. And this is what it would look like with existing Parks X in the word mark. I apologize, but our graphic designer, Matt Doblett, has been on vacation this last week, so he's not able to work up what it would look like, the contact sheet for a seal, a flag, and all that stuff. But you can kind of imagine from here and looking at this, kind of what you might get. So those are the options that I've got to you after the last couple of rounds of feedback that I've worked through with you on, and seeking some input to know, ultimately what I'd like to do is to bring forward a resolution for you guys to adopt a seal and a flag design. And once you've adopted a seal and a flag, then staff can move forward adopting the other pieces of our branding that kind of match that seal and flag, and we can start to implement those. Any questions or thoughts? And then obviously need your discussion, your input, and guidance on what you want me to do next.
You said this is new? This one, this modification with the current X?
This is one we worked up at the mayor's request, yeah.
We haven't seen this before.
And the next one is the one that I asked Drew to kind of put together, and he did that just with what graphic design work that he has available to him, and he's asked Mr. Noblet to put together a family, which is going to happen this week sometime, I'm sure.
Yeah, he might have time this week to put that together, and if not, next week, but not sure what his schedule looks like exactly, but he'll get to it as soon as he can.
So go back to the previous one, please. So, Sean, you're basically saying that it would be this, except all of the other X's would look like the Parks X,
Well,
right?
at least the word mark and stuff like that. I'm not sold on the flag part of it, but,
Okay.
or even the seal with it above there, but it'd be similar to something like that with using the parks, the exits and the parks flag would be kind of what he would go with to try to work something up with, to go along with the family of it. If you can envision that, it's kind of hard not to be able to do that, but.
I like this pretty well, to be honest. The Parks one too, I like, but I like the X on this. I like the city utilities X with it, even like the flag.
Yeah, I agree with Darlene. I suppose, I'll say it, and before I saw this, my favorite was the first one. The A1 or whatever. But now that I see the modified X thing, I actually really like it, and I suppose you could argue that it's weird that the other ones are all different from the Parks one, but I like this X better than the Parks X in all of those, for all of those things. And the Parks Department does kind of stand on its own a little bit anyway, so I could actually totally go for this. With, just as it is on the projector, yeah. I actually really like that.
My concern with this is on a lot of the items, whatever they may be, printing, embroidering, screen printing, the X, you'll lose the X. Especially on the city seal. I mean, because that on this little tiny thing would, I don't know if you'd really be able to see, kind of like the bird on the current logo. I mean, on some things, like the seal that's right in front of us, that bird is twice the size of every house and building. But then
It's
on
an
a
eagle,
water
Jerry.
tower,
It's
it
an
just.
eagle.
Oh, eagle. That's okay.
It is
Yeah.
freakishly huge.
And like on a water tower, you can't, from a distance, you can't tell that that's an eagle or anything. When you get too detailed, you lose it.
There's a lot of discussion about that eagle on there, to be honest.
That's a good point. So
Which one?
A1
I can see
would
the
be
eagle
more
on the
visible.
one by the.
I know, but when we did this before, there was a lot of discussion about that eagle. on that design thing because it was so much bigger than the buildings.
It's just closer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Respect that.
but neither one of those trees is big.
So I can remember getting one of those too. But I just like the X.
It's an eagle, come on. You
I
could
like
eat the
the
tree.
nuts.
14-foot wingspan, probably. Monstrous.
So A1 would solve the problem that you just brought up, Jared.
Yeah, I do, I think I do like the city seal on A2 better though, with the
Really?
X, with the logo placed above it. I don't
You
know
don't
why.
like it as the crossroads, though?
Well, but we're really, I mean, kind of going back to the whole, we're not the crossroads anymore. I mean, we were back in 1905.
Yeah.
Place there to
But
me.
X marks the spot to be,
There, it sure
which is
does.
not, which is not way behind the city.
True,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, that,
I really like the landscape of the new one, which I've told you that like roughly 74 times. Well, now I don't like it.
Yeah, I think the A2 seal was my last choice, like, very last.
Of course it was.
I don't think you'd lose that X on that modification one because I'm wearing a shirt tonight and it's got that, almost that same X on it and you can read it pretty easily.
You can who, what?
But you're not up on
The
a water
X.
tower, darling.
Well, it's
Yeah.
way bigger on the water tower.
Right.
If I'm 10 feet away from you, I can't see it.
How often do you look at the water tower?
Every time I pass it, they're beautiful.
Not.
They provide us
I
water.
personally think it would be visible just fine.
I do too.
Actually,
You make a great big one, it'd be really visible.
yeah. On a water tower, it would be visible.
To me, it's not as,
Especially if it's red.
I don't like Ozarks.
patches.
Yeah, all the circles.
As far as the flags, Drew, if you're needing some guidance on that as well, my personal opinion, I do like the one that's blue. I'm not, obviously,
I think that's why I took a screenshot.
either, I like the one with the blue with the logo on it and the word mark. I think it's that one. Well, it's on the next one. I do like the one on the next page, actually.
This one?
Yeah, with whatever
Mm,
X we
that- that's
decide to go
Starbucks.
with, if you put it next to it, I think that would look really good.
Looks like a 4th of July.
put
But
an X next to it instead?
not saying to stand up in the corner, but like that one. So you could even go back to the one that has the landscape in it too. I like that one as well. Or the red one above it.
Or the red one.
I like the variation.
Yeah.
So I like the blue, the red, and the white in it.
Yeah.
And this design works as a flag, when it's that scale or larger, I think it'll work, but like when you get down to putting it on the, embroidering on a shirt, it wouldn't work.
You'd lose it, yeah.
But it works on the flag.
But that's what I'm just saying, if you want, because you're asking for a seal and a flag, so
Mhm.
I like that flag, the blue or the red one with the landscape in it.
So we could go back to 1-1, whatever the very first thing.
A1.
So if you took the X out of here, just like the X isn't on that flag, it's just the silhouette. And just have the seal be the silhouette without the X on it. I never have
The
like-
seal here?
No,
it's the
on the
seal.
seal itself, if you take the X off,
Oh, just take the X out.
take the X out, make the silhouette a little bit bigger, so it fills in better.
So it won't scale the way that shape is. You can see it's wider than it is tall.
Go to
And
the next
and
one.
The thing with the
Number
the
2.
space in the circle here,
Yeah, see, that's what I liked about the seal there, is that it's down on the bottom.
you're just gonna have a
the
lot of
silhouette.
negative, it's gonna feel really empty up here with nothing there.
Well, we feel pretty empty up there.
That slash X on it.
So that's why we were trying to integrate the X in there as well, and it works nicely with the silhouette and a shape, is because then it kind of fills in that center without it feeling too empty.
Well, that X on the modification one would work up there too. It's a little skinnier, but it would still fill that space. Not be quite as harsh.
Yeah, I can work that up if that's what you want.
We've bored everyone and now they're leaving.
Bye.
Hi, guys.
They're like, we're out.
It is boring, we know.
Nobody wants to hear about seals anymore.
They were warned.
The designs that we recommend are A or B. Those are the recommendations from myself and our graphic designer, or for us to stick and try to work within A or B. But I can work up anything that you guys want me to do outside of those recommendations.
Now go back to Sean's flag page.
I can
No,
get that too.
the flags with the words.
The flags?
On them. Flags with the words on them. Yeah, that one's fine, or either one of those, yeah, that one. I think we like the,
The bottom right.
I'm bottom right for sure.
That's where I'm at, yeah.
This guy?
Yeah.
Is there 4 of you that would support that as a flag? I only need 4 of you. Other 3 I don't need.
I'd support
I
the
feel like that's really busy for a flag.
What if you put
Looking
the
for a
slash
fourth.
X in there instead of the little silhouette thingy at the bottom?
I wouldn't recommend putting an X in front of an X. I wouldn't stack an X in front of the word Nixa. It wouldn't,
No, put it where the X is now, put that X from the one we looked at earlier instead of that block X.
so something like this, where the X is in the center of the flag?
No, what you had up there, but
No,
it's
in the
in place of
word
the block
Nixa.
X, it's in place of the X that's there now, down to the one that looks like similar to the.
So remove that X.
Yes, and make it a different X.
And put your symbol, in the word, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have 4 of you behind that idea?
Well, the only problem
take
with
anything at this
the only
point.
problem with that is that X. I mean, the points would go below, so anything below it. Am I wrong? The points of the X would go into the word Missouri or.
Yeah, we looked at,
X
when we,
inside the-
so when I had sat down with each of you individually and we talked about these things, we had ruled out that we preferred having the symbol stand on its own rather than working it into the word mark.
Agreed.
Which is why I'm showing you what I'm showing you, not
yeah.
word
Yeah.
marks with a X symbol in this middle. So I've tried to follow your guidance and get down to something and whittle ideas away.
I just think that little silhouette thing, whatever it is, it's just too busy to put on something. It's just my opinion, Drew, you've heard it before. Because people are gonna look at that and go, what's that supposed to be? Half of them don't know what City Hall looks like. They drive right by it and doesn't.
Now they
don't even
will.
think about it. Oh, you think so?
Oh, yeah, the two
If we add a bird, will you like it?
We're making it more of a central part of our identity by integrating into our brand identity, into our visual identity.
I'd rather just see it nice and plain and visible as the name of the town and where it's
Yeah.
located.
Yeah, I mean, if we're
So
gonna.
so which one are you proposing here? This one?
I do either one of the two on the left side. That one or the one above it.
Which one do you guys prefer? This one or this one?
Neither. I like the bottom right.
Yeah, me
What
too.
if we did
Sorry,
the bottom
Drew.
right without
I got
the-
4 people on bottom.
So you got
right.
4 people on board with this
Bottom
one?
right without the little thingy there.
I got what
yeah.
I need.
Silhouette's too busy on the flag.
Because I can bring you a resolution to
The
adopt
bottom
this
right
as your
without the
flag.
little silhouette is
I can do
fine,
that.
too.
So does no one
I'll
else
do it
like a
before
flag
2
with
weeks
just
from
a
now.
symbol?
The flag
I
with
like the
just a
flag
symbol?
just a symbol.
I
No one
can't
else like
stand
that?
it.
I like it.
People are going against the laws of vexillology.
I don't care
You
about.
I understand that on a
something
state or
ology.
national level, but for a city, nobody know no one's going to know what the city of Nixa flag looks like.
Well, if we do one with the text, I would vote for bottom left.
Yeah.
I think that the silhouette's busy, and I don't like that it covers up
Part of the
part of the
letters.
word.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I like the silhouette just because it's saying that, as Nixa, we're putting our residents
This
before
is
Nixa,
us.
we're putting our businesses before Nixa.
He gets
Young
it.
man's smart. He's smart.
He is.
So, I don't know, yeah,
so
Nixa's,
So smart.
The municipal government's behind those
yeah,
things,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I like about the bottom right. And I think that the top right is just the community gets too lost in the same color scheme. So it says our community is what's important to us, and that's what we stand behind. That's what I see.
Who are the 4 that would support that?
I'd
Oh,
support
yeah.
that one.
1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 votes. I'll
there a
bring you a
public
resolution to adopt that one.
That end of the
And
table?
now we gotta work on a seal.
Mic drop it, Drew.
Is there another one? Is there another alternative design that also has 4 votes that I need to bring you? And then you guys could debate it at that time and then decide which one you want to actually vote to adopt.
You want to go bottom left, bottom right? Everybody likes one of those?
Yeah.
Is the second?
Yeah,
is-
I could
We're
go-
doing
I mean,
ranked choice voting at
could
this
go-
point
I
now?
prefer the one with the modified X in it,
Just
but
the
if,
X.
if
Oh, yeah.
everyone is so
Oh, I
bent on having words,
like the
then
modified
the
X.
bottom left would be my choice.
Did you have something that had the symbol on it? One of something like that had the name and the symbol? Yeah, like that.
See, 'cause you can-
Of
Yeah,
this
with the-
integrating, I
with
think
the-
it works
with
with
the
design
X
B,
behind
but
it.
I don't believe it works, and it would work with design C, which I'm not recommending anymore. But, and I don't think it'll work with design A. But if you're going B, but if you decide to go B on the seal, then I think that opens up this flag as a possibility to you.
Have we seen this flag before?
I'd still like to see.
No,
that.
you've not seen this flag
I'd still
before.
like
I
to
was gonna
see
say.
the.
I was
Looks like
focusing on
something
showing
I'd
you
use
guys
on a
logo
ship.
symbols last
At least
time.
not today.
Okay.
He went through it earlier.
It looks like something I'd use on a ship.
Oh,
Or-
these, yeah.
The idea here, and again, was when we talked about kind of what Nix's identity is we don't have we have history. We don't have a long storied history, right? We were a small, rural farming town for a long time until a few decades ago, we exploded as a suburb. And really, our story is that we're a new town, right? We're the families that have been here forever and really know the history and are steeped in the history, they're way outnumbered by all the folks that have moved into town from other parts of the country. This is a new town. It's a collection of folks it's a collection of locals and outsiders. And so that idea of newness we thought was communicated by this shape too, of kind of that sparkle, that glint of sun off the corner of something that's shiny and new.
Easily drawn from this.
I think the biggest struggle is just trying to find that happy medium between the old and the new.
Yeah?
And I think that, I mean, I heard stories this weekend of people that used to travel and they had to come right down through downtown Nixa to get to where they were going, you know, so. I mean,
It used to be the
I
crossroads,
still
yeah.
think that that's still a part of our community.
It is, and we want to keep a foot in that. We don't want to abandon the X completely because that's where we came from, right? That's why the X is in our name at all, is because we were a crossroads. We were a significant intersection at one point in time until 65 extended down and connected to Branson. Now everybody passes us.
Can you go back to the modified X1, please?
Which one?
The
Keep going.
the modification, the one that you,
Modification of current X.
modification
Oh,
of current X.
the mayor's, right there.
Couldn't that be
So-
used on a flag?
Yeah, could the logo on the top left be on the flag?
Yeah.
How do we feel about that? Flag is.
Yeah, guys, how do you
Flag
feel
is
about
blue. Flag is blue and the word Nixa is white.
So have that next to the Nixa that has the silhouette or just next to
No,
the
that
Nixa?
logo
That
in the
logo.
upper left corner
Okay.
on the flag.
On the flag.
But the flag is like solid blue.
And just
So you're talking about a
Like
flag,
those.
a flag like this,
Yeah.
where this is
But
it's
you-
on
but
a
you-
smaller,
With the red X
push to the
next it.
right, with the
Right.
red X and
Yeah.
off to the side, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because that makes it consistent, if we choose that, it makes it consistent with all the other branding, if we choose that. particular
It's
one.
just the what we would call the global mark. It locates us globally, right?
Right.
But
Because I
and on
really
the
like
flag.
the modified X. I think it looks modern and like simple and crisp and,
Friendly.
yeah, not threatening, in my opinion.
Maybe a different color on the patch.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Go with the white on the patch.
Yeah, we can make it white
Maybe
like
it's
we
not
did
even
on the
need
white.
that on the patch.
Yeah.
The issue I have with this design is it looks a little bit like a crossbow to me. Some people have said to me that it looks like somebody chopping a finger off.
Awesome.
Or
We're reaching.
Fantastic.
chopsticks.
And a crossbow.
And to me, it's similar to our current X that has kind of a 90s vibe to it. To me, it comes across kind of 90s. Extreme sports, 90s. That's what I get from it. That's me. I might be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong
Okay.
again. But I'm
Okay.
just trying to
okay.
communicate. That's why we're not recommending that.
What about,
I like it.
what about A2? Same thing. Logo on upper left corner goes on flag.
Hold on, what? Sorry. Wasn't listening.
That logo, that
She's
one goes
saying
on the flag.
this.
This on a white flag.
On a blue.
On the,
flag.
not on the,
Blue flag.
not on white, on,
On a blue
do we
flag.
want to go blue or red,
On a blue flag, yeah.
Blue.
like that. So we're just with the symbol next to it.
Then we have to go with that symbol for everything else.
Beautiful.
Great idea.
Right, no, that's what I'm saying, is we use A2. We use the whole family of A2.
I prefer A1.
Well,
Huh?
I do too, but I didn't feel like others did.
I think everybody, the only difference between A1 and A2 is the seal.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
don't
like
think
the
anybody
seal on
likes the.
A1.
I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of the A2 seal.
Yeah, I'm like-
So, I mean,
Yeah. I don't like-
What'd you say,
Are
Justin?
we
I'm
cl-
not a
are
fan
we-
of the
okay,
A2 seal.
Go back to A1.
I prefer the
A1?
A1, but I
Go
thought,
to
I
A1,
thought
there you go.
others didn't.
So that, but replace the flag with the.
With the one that she's
with the
talking
blue-
about.
With just the regular logo on a blue
Uh-huh.
flag with white Nixa, I guess.
Okay, so I'll bring you a resolution to adopt. This is the seal, and the flag, not this flag, but this on a blue flag.
Right.
And just so I can draw this out a little bit longer, so what's the purpose of going to a more like short and squatty
See, I don't like the
badge
short square.
or shield, police shield?
So basically, the idea of that came from us asking Chief if we were to start from scratch again.
He said short and squatty.
No, he didn't say short and squatty. He said, I asked him to look at other seals or other police patches around the country for inspiration. What stuff do you like out there? So we could just had an idea of what he likes. And he sent us something that had this shape on it, and we kind of liked that. We felt like it felt a little bit, I don't know, to us it felt like a little bit stronger, a little bit bolder as a shield. And we thought it made more sense as a police shield. So we integrated in the design, but I think Chief might be changing his mind. I think last time we talked, he was saying he might want to continue with the current shield shape they have. So
Not so inspired by
again,
this, no.
and you guys are not going to vote on
The shape.
parks, police, utilities, or the overall city logo. You guys are going to vote on these two and only these two, and then we're going to adopt stuff that fits that. Because I don't want us to get in a situation where you guys are like,
Right.
well, we hate the logo. We want to adopt this other logo on our seal and flag, and then it's like, well, we've gone in the wrong direction. So we want to get you guys happy first, and then we'll go
Right.
and refine our stuff, if that makes sense.
I really like A1 because I feel like, you can interpret the seal however you want. You could say that's a crossroads. You could also, that also could just be like X marks the spot. I just think it makes sense. It looks a lot better than having whatever X up above the silhouette. I just think that seal looks really good. And
We were proud of that seal.
I like that design. I like that flag, but if everyone else wants Nixa, Missouri on the flag, I'm fine with that too. And I understand that, because if someone just sees the flag and they have, they're not gonna know that it's Nixa, so.
And again, the reason why we were recommending A or B as options is because the X is there, but it's not in the foreground. It's not literally an X. We've moved it into the negative space or an implied space. And what's in the positive space, what's literally there, is another shape that has its own significance. And so there's a layered meaning there between, and where it has a meaning here, that's the converging arrows, right?
Kinda
North,
like the
south,
Sioux
east, and
Falls
west, you're all
logo,
coming
you can
together
still
right
see
here.
the S in the Sioux Falls logo.
Here, it's, there's an X there.
Words to deal with too. One four-letter word.
So how does everyone feel about A1 with the words on the flag?
I mean, that's my favorite seal, but I mean, this one's also very similar to what we originally proposed.
The idea here is a lot softer. The other one was, it was triangles and it was really
Right.
hard, and then now it's with the chevrons, it's not quite as hard.
And I also think we have to keep in mind that whatever we choose, there's gonna be someone that's gonna have some weird interpretation of it, like chopping off a finger. I mean, I never in a million years. So,
I saw more of a
That was-
finger, but
I don't
Yeah.
think we can,
I was totally on
I
board
don't
with
think
that.
we can get bogged down with that.
I like the,
Because someone is always going to have a problem with whatever we end up with.
Somebody sees something weird in everything.
Right.
Everybody brings their own associations to everything.
Can't
'cause
make
there's
everyone
nothing new under the sun, right? So it's all about what feels right for us, and we'll just go with it.
But to me, it's good and it's strong, but I like the way it's kind of rounded and softened a little. It's got a nice symmetry to it.
But if we went with the
It's simple.
But if we went with the modification one, I mean, I like that city seal with the X, but this has got the opposite on this. You could flip it around and put the houses back up to the top and put this /X at the bottom. I
We
do like
can't,
that.
I wish I'd brought that. When we were working this up for the mayor, this guy, we tried that, we tried putting it below, and it looked goofy to us. We were like, oh, we don't even want to show it to them because it didn't work. But I can bring that back if you want to see it. Or I can have it emailed to you guys before the next council meeting so you can see it.
I do see Drew's point, though, that this might not stand the test of time as well. The more I look at it.
And what didn't you like about the other one, Drew, the one that I had you look at?
The Parks X,
Yeah.
again, it's that same argument about not preferring a positive space X, so wanting to have that layered symbology. And that's the main thing.
To me, it makes sense inside the kite, but it looks weird without the kite.
I mean, I'd be ready to move forward with A1 seal. I think, I mean, I liked it to begin with, and now it's even softer. I'm okay with that
That's
as well.
A1.
A1, yeah.
Sorry. So I'll bring you this and the flag as described with this on a blue background.
I could live with it. Not my favorite, but I could live with it.
I've got 4 votes for that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Might have more than 4 votes? That's great.
Yeah.
All right.
My only thought about the flag is on the blue background, I mean, I would have to see it, but I'm wondering if the boomerangs would need to be white.
That's what I
Because
wonder too.
red
I'll
might
work up a
not-
couple. I'll work up one where like the symbol and the bar are white with the Missouri in red, and then one where they remain red with the white, with Missouri in white. I'll work up, and obviously Nixa will have to flop to white if it's on a blue background. So
Right.
I can bring you 2 alternate versions of the color blocking there, and then you guys can pick the one that feels better.
But that's okay, because, I mean, they're white on the police badge, so that.
Yeah,
they're
it'll
not- they
have
don't
an
ha-
established
It doesn't have to
use.
be, and it's different in the different colors in the utilities thing, so it doesn't have to be the same color.
And it's important to know, so like, back late last year and through the winter, we were working on a brand style guide. We stopped progress on that when we kind of wanted to kind of go back to the drawing board, talking about the logo shape. But part of that guide, I mean, it's already into like 30 or more pages of describing kind of all the different uses, and if you're on this background, then you would use this color, but if you're on that color background, you use this version. So we will define all that stuff out as far as when it's on a blue background, you're going to use the white version or whatever. Things like that will all be defined in that style guidebook as we go. So we're actively thinking through all those uses as we go as well.
Everybody happy or nobody happy? Is nobody happy? Means you made the correct decision.
I only want 4 people happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Lightly shaking of heads.
Yes.
All right.
All right, give that
Thank
a
you very
try.
much.
Till we get 15 emails tomorrow. Oh, that's a something symbol.
I'll just forward them to Amy.
Okay.
Everyone already knows me anyways, what's up?
All right, thank you, Mr. Douglas. That is all we had on the agenda for tonight. We were going at a good pace until that, came up, but that's all right. Anything else from staff?
The only thing is a reminder, where offices are closed Monday for the holiday.
Yes.
And then also, we had a very good, and I'm sure Chris will come talk to council at some point, but we had a very good Sucker Days, even though we had some rough weather Saturday. We had fantastic turnout Friday night, even quite a few people Saturday, and then Sunday as well. So it was a very, very good event.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see how many people turned out on Saturday. And the wrestling crowd was good. That ended up turning out to be a good event, which I think there was a lot of skepticism to that.
That was freezing.
Yep.
So-
And
It was cool.
It
And
was
kudos
cool.
to Jared for doing an interview in the middle of a wrestling match. Never seen it. Good job.
Yeah.
Did you tell them what they yelled in the middle of the wrestling?
I'm not going to
Your
say that in
interview?
an open meeting.
I want to thank everybody that came and helped with Sucker Days. It was a monumental task, and especially on Saturday when they had to redo everything, but it was amazing to see so many people come in and volunteer, and all the things that you all did here at the city to get it ready, and the parks to get it ready, and all the police officers doing stuff. Once it got rolling, it was not bad. It was very stressful for the chamber the week before. We've almost lost one of our people working there, to be honest. She was so overwhelmed. We've worked very hard to keep her. But it really was terrific. And you guys down here, I didn't see you, but that doesn't mean you weren't there. But I've seen everybody else here. I didn't see you, but then I wasn't out. I wasn't out and around a lot because I was doing other stuff. But when you saw people from the city and all of you people, city council people doing stuff, it was just a really good community effort to show that we care about everything. So thank you so much.
Anything else? Anything else from council?
Nope.
Motion to adjourn.
So made.